Welcome to Simplify to Scale, a show dedicated to helping you scale a high impact and high profit business that you love without all of the complexity and chaos that can keep you trapped in the day-to-day. I'm your host, Krista Grasso, and with decades of scaling experience, I know what actually works and what's just hype. So if you are done with all of the one-size-fits-all scaling advice and all of the overnight success promises, and instead you want proven practical strategies that will help you simplify operations, elevate your leadership, amplify profits, and scale sustainably, let's dive in and get started. Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Simplify to Scale show. Today, I want to talk about a few areas where I'm seeing some incongruence in the online space. And this is costing businesses a lot of money. And I'm going to share two specific examples of places where I've stopped referring business to another business who I've referred a lot of business to. And another example where I've chosen not to attend something that I've attended almost every single year it's been hosted, and the expanded impact that has, because it was not just me who attended, I always brought several people with me. So in both of these cases, these businesses have lost tens of thousands of dollars by me making that decision. And I don't make those decisions lightly. So I wanted to break it down and share that with you because a lot of businesses are making these mistakes. And I want to make sure that A, you're not making these mistakes, or if you're advising other clients, you're able to spot these things in their business and support them with it as well. So the very first thing that I'm going to start with, of course, is AI. And then my second example actually has nothing to do with AI, although that's probably some of the undercurrent of what's happening. So there's an event that I have attended almost every single year for a very long time now. It's from someone who I know well, someone who I believe in, someone who has had a big impact on my own business journey, and someone I really just so admire and respect their work as a whole. Although, like most events that you go to an event repeatedly, the content itself is largely the same. Like most events I attend, I do not attend at all for the content because it's usually just the same thing that you hear over and over and over again. But why I tend to attend events is for the other people in the room and whether or not that person attracts really great people. And I've walked out of this particular event with six-figure contracts and deals with new clients, with partnerships, with friends. This is an event that's done very well for my business. And just in general, I like supporting this person because I believe in them. So why did I decide not to attend the event this year? And why did I decide not to encourage other people to attend the event this year? Well, it comes down to the fact that although she historically has been a fantastic writer, somebody who can create such deep emotional resonance through what she says, whether it's spoken, whether it's written, but she's really strong in that department. She had AI write every single piece of content for this event, and it fell completely flat. It lacked any bit of connectivity whatsoever. Like you read it and you're like, yeah, okay, AI wrote this and there's nothing in here that even sounds like you. I think she probably took some past emails, plugged them into AI and said, write me the registration emails. And they just completely did not land. They completely did not connect. And so was it the fact that she used AI to write emails that I'm not attending? No, it was what it signified to me. It was the fact that I thought, does she even care about this event? Like, is she kind of just dialing it in and hosting it because she's always hosted? Because if she cared enough about this event, she would have taken the time to do something she does exceptionally well and actually written the copy. She would have taken the time to connect it to people's current pains, to some of the things that people are currently feeling. She would have used the gift that she has of that deep emotional resonance and actually shown up in a way that showed that she's going to provide an incredible event and actually really pour into people. Instead, what it showed was, I got an event. I'm just going to have AI write a bunch of emails. If people come, cool. If they don't, whatever. And so there's two things that really signified. First, being like, is she just kind of phoning it in? And it's not going to be that great of an event. Because does she even care that much? if she did, she would have approached this differently. Like it just felt lazy. It felt sloppy. And so that was my first takeaway. But more importantly, what I was thinking is I go for the people in the room. Well, who are the people that are going to be attracted by those AI written emails and who are going to say yes? It's probably not going to be the same level of discerning person as I am. It's probably going to be people who maybe are newer in business, which is great for them. But again, that's not why I'm there. I'm there to build the connections and build the relationships with the people who are really truly transforming the future of small business and who want to either collaboratively do that together, who want to partner together, who want to share, referrals so that we know that we have trusted people that we could refer business to together, right? Like that's why I'm going. And there just was such meh around the emails and such surface level language and surface level problems that I was thinking, aside from the tried and true people like me who show up every single year, who I talk to all the time anyway, because we're friends and we're in the same circles, like who else is being attracted by this garbage, honestly? And so I decided not to attend and I recommended some other events instead of this one. And it's kind of surprising from anyone who would know me because I am a diehard. I am someone who has always gone and always supported this. And so if you think about the content that you're putting out, a lot of times people think AI is creating shortcuts, it's saving so much time, it's so much more efficient. Cool. And are you losing out on so much money in your business because of it without even realizing it? This person is probably wondering, where's Krista? She's always been here. Like, why isn't she coming? Why isn't she referring people and bringing people like she always does? I mean, like I've done this for years and years and years. And she probably has no idea. And maybe at some point I'll tell her because again, I really respect her. But it just, what is the subtle takeaway that someone has when they see an email that's completely written by AI? And it's not even that it has all the telltale signs, the emojis and the M dashes and all of the words and the patterns of three and all those things, which she did not even bother to strip out of her emails. But that being said, even if you do all that and you strip that out of the email, at the end of the day, there's just something that's missing. I don't know if it's an energetic read, if it's like a subtle thing, but sometimes you deeply connect to someone based on what they're saying or what they're writing or what they're sharing. And sometimes you don't. And I think it's missing in a lot of ways that connection. Now, that doesn't mean you don't use AI to support you in your content. I have an entire way that I approach that. It's something that I partner with my clients on. It's something I'm about to take people through in some of my programs. But you can't outsource it completely to AI and expect to have the same kind of resonance, or honestly, you kind of end up sounding super vanilla and like everybody else. You lose what makes you you, even if you plug in past emails. And I'm seeing this more and more as using AI for content is just the norm now. And so this was one example and one risk that I see as people are using AI. You need to be so incredibly intentional in the way that you do it, and you've got to put your own polish in it. Again, I actually have a rule for my AI. It writes nothing on its own, ever, in the history of ever. It can only pull from my thought leadership or something that I said. So if I go into my AI and I put in there, if I open up Claude and I say, hey, write me an email on this topic, it will literally come back to me and say, I'm sorry, I can't do that. I've been instructed to only use Krista's existing content before I write anything. So let me ask you a few questions. And it will literally prompt me and I will answer. I use Whisper and I answer out loud. And I basically kind of just answer a series of questions. And it will then take it and using my guidelines and my voice and my brand DNA and my do's and my don'ts and all of the things, it will then write something that is basically just taking what I said out loud and turning it into an email that has the right punctuation and the right polish and that stuff. And then I still go in and do a layer of editing on top of it. And the results that I get are completely and entirely different. And a lot of times I just write my emails. I probably write my own emails more often than I use AI to write something. Just because to me, that's how I express, that's how I connect. I'm just speaking right now. I'm not reading something that AI wrote. This is just me sharing what I'm thinking. And it has a different, I think, connection than some of the other stuff does. And everyone's out there selling skills and agents and all the things and, download this skill and upload it into Claude or ChatGPT or whatever tool of choice. or train it to sound just like you. And yes, all those things are super valuable. I literally help people do this in my 1-day intensive extraction, but I help them do it in a really strategic way, not in the way that most people are doing it. But all that it ends up doing is it still ends up sounding like the same general stuff, just without the M dashes and without some of the patterning that's recognizable. What it lacks is that emotional connection and that resonance that just makes someone either lean in or kind of lean away, that they aren't always even conscious of it. I look for this kind of stuff, which is why I know exactly why I was turned off by her event and made a decision not to go. Other people probably read the emails or saw some of her posts and made that decision and don't recognize why. So that's the first example. This is something I'm seeing a lot right now, which is why I wanted to share this specific example. But the second example that I want to share is there is this brand that I used to absolutely love, like love what they do, love their brand. I mean, I don't like their branding, but I like the brand itself. I love what they stand for. I love the way they teach things. They're a little disruptive. They challenge the status quo, which is totally my vibe. They kind of break things down into really logical, systemic thinking about how to solve specific problems in business. Again, very much my vibe. And they're more on the marketing side. And even though I have a very strong marketing background, I've been a CMO for a lot of years, I tend to help people more with the systems and the structure and the team and the tools and the tech and that part of scaling a business. Now, when I work with private clients, we probably spend more time on marketing than we do on anything else. But in my bigger group programs, I tend to work on those things with people. So if someone's not a right fit for something where I'm covering marketing, I tend to refer them to this other business. I've referred this business. I don't even know how many clients over the years. And the irony is, I've never talked to them. I've never met them. I don't know them at all. They have no idea who I am, but I send a lot of people to them because I always really liked their approach. I really liked what they did. And I felt like if I sold a marketing program, it would be their program. The way they think about it and approach it and talk about things matched my style very well. And so it felt like if somebody did that, it would be a natural fit back into my work. And it's translated that way well over the years. Well, I have stopped referring them entirely. I've unsubscribed from their list and I've unfollowed them. And it's not because they necessarily did anything terribly wrong or anything like that, but it's because they have incongruence in their message. And I no longer feel comfortable sending people to them because there's something that's not adding up in what they say. They preach a series of ideals and a series of almost like guiding principles to what they believe and how they work that I fully believe in, but their practices and what they do does not match. There is an incongruence, and this is more recent. I don't know if it's because they've started to have AI create content. I don't know if it's because they hired someone to create content. I don't know if it's because they hired an old school marketing coach that's telling them how to market circa like 2005. I don't know what it is that they're doing, but right now their approach is email, 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 email. It's constant email and it's nothing but hard sell. Nothing but hard sell nonstop. And I'm pretty sure their tactic is either I get them to do this thing or they unsubscribe. And that used to be a marketing tactic of a long time ago. It's certainly something some of the bro marketers still follow. It is not something I believe in. I'm very anti that. I believe in nurturing. I believe in providing value. I believe that people buy on their own timeline. And I think that your job is to show up and provide value and be there as the solution when it is time for that person. The pain is strong enough or the, desire is strong enough that they are ready to invest in solving that problem. And you are there to be the person to solve it. You will probably notice I never do the hard sell. It's not something I do. When we do sales calls, we quite literally do not hard sell. Sometimes we don't even sell on the call unless somebody asks specifically for a sales call. And so we have a very different approach to things. I do not ever believe in forcing anyone or pushing anyone into anything. I know from a sales strategy perspective, a lot of people would challenge that. That is just how I believe in selling. To me, it's an invitation and you are welcome to come and work with us. Like I know hands down, if you want to scale your business and get yourself out of the day to day, I believe to my core that there is no better person to work with and no better programs to join than what I've created. I truly 100% believe that. And so when the time is right and when someone is serious enough and they come to me, I know I'm going to get them absolutely fantastic results and they are going to get what they want on the other side. Awesome. Right. So if I know that, why do I need to convince somebody and tell them must buy now? That's me putting my own needs first instead of the client's needs first. And I just simply don't believe in it. When someone's ready, I am there for them. When they're not, cool, do what you got to do. And when you're ready, I'll be here. And that's kind of my philosophy in selling and how I've scaled all of my brands that I've had over the years. They are doing the exact opposite. They are doing the constant, nonstop hammering you to take action and to join the thing. And the ironic thing is, I don't think they have their list segmented because I've already joined the thing in the past. And yet they're still hammering me to join the thing. Like it's just a workshop that's paid. And so I already paid for the workshop and I already joined it before. So why are you continuing to ask me to join and pay for the workshop on repeat constantly? And so it either like reeks of desperation of nothing's working. So therefore, we're just going to hammer people to try to get as many people in on our timeline instead of their own. Or it worked at one point in time. So they're doubling down on it and not recognizing that it's going to stop working. And then they're going to be left trying to scramble and figure out what needs to be done. But more importantly, not only is it that I don't believe in the tactics and the approaches that they're following, but it's the incongruence in their messaging. The fact that they say to be against all of this. They constantly are talking about how you shouldn't follow bro marketing tactics and how you should be more genuine and how you should be more strategic. And all of the things that they talk about that I resonate with is not at all the practices that they are currently following. And so when you think about being omnipresent, when you think about leveraging multiple channels, being omnipresent and multi-channel, when you think about this, where I see a lot of brands making mistakes is sometimes they have different people working on different channels or in different places. And there's a lack of interconnectivity. There's a lack of congruence across those different things. And I don't know who the heck is doing their email marketing, but that person should be fired. That's what I would say. That is my strategy is get rid of that person. If it's an AI agent, fire the agent. If it's a human, train them differently. They are following an old school playbook that nobody likes. And so it just, it irks me so badly. And it makes me so disappointed because I do believe that their program, I've not joined their program, but I think their program's good. The people I've sent to their program have said it's really good. But I'm thinking if this is the way that you're marketing an email, have you changed your program and now your program is telling people to do this kind of stuff? Like I can't in good conscience send somebody into a program that would be what you would teach. It is so like against what I believe and how I think brands should be growing. It's a very like me approach versus putting a customer first approach in doing what is best for them. And I think ultimately that's how you have sustainable success in business. And so again, unsubscribe, stop referring. They don't know me. They don't know how many people I've sent their way because it's just something I've done. When I like a brand, I go all in and I'm a very big supporter of that brand, whether I have a personal connection with them or not. But I have now stopped telling people to look at their stuff. I have stopped telling people to join their program. And it's because of this incongruence in saying one thing, doing something else. So it makes me lack trust in them entirely. And also leveraging techniques and tactics that just don't feel right to me and don't feel like the future of where I think small business is going. And what I think that just as humans making buying decisions, what we need to feel safe and to feel supported and to feel like we're making the right decision instead of all of the darn false urgency and FOMO and all of the stuff that people do that just makes me a little reactive. Like I do not like any of that. So these are some things that I'm seeing. And so the takeaway is where do you maybe have incongruence across your online presence? Where are you saying one thing or painting an ideal or a picture in one area, but then not actually following it in another area? Or where is your messaging different, especially if you have different people or different agents owning different parts of what you do? Do you have that overarching congruence? And overall, a business is an ecosystem. You know, this is something I share often. And so we have to look at how every part of what we're doing influences the other parts of what we're doing. It's why the lean scaling system has 9 engines. It does not matter. You don't need to care about what the 9 engines are or anything like that's kind of what we do as the underpinning in the business. But when I train people on this, I help them understand how every single thing that you do turns the gear and it influences the other facets of the business. And sometimes it's a positive influence. It creates leverage. It creates, forward, like rapid results. Other times it turns in the wrong direction. It creates fragmentation. It creates complexity. It kind of unwinds some of the goodwill and the good work that you've done, right? And so I think it's so important that people are zooming out a bit. And as people are reactively using AI, as people are in this year of experimentation, as I've said, and trying this tactic and this technique, and this person is teaching this, and this person is teaching this. And yes, it's good to look at and evaluate if any of those things fit for your business, but you want to zoom out and you want to make sure that you have congruence and consistency. You want to make sure that your vision and your values are always being respected in whatever you're doing, and that nobody is breaking those to chase some shiny tool or shiny new trend and ways to sell or ways to market or ways to operate your business. And so I wanted to share those two examples because I'm sure as I share those, you probably have multiples that pop into your head that have shifted how you've seen a brand or how you've interacted with a brand or whether you've referred someone, or even if you've made a decision to maybe leave something or not invest in something that you've done in the past. And so how can you take those learnings and look at your business very objectively at where maybe you can make some shifts to ensure that that's not happening inadvertently? And whereas you're advising clients, if you're working with them, can you make sure that they have this and they're considering this as well? So I hope you got a lot of value out of this episode. I will see you again next week. If you are a visionary founder ready to get yourself out of the day-to-day operations of your business and scale in a much more simple, sustainable way, I have just the thing. Register to join me for my Scale Simpler workshop at scalesimpler.com. In it, I break down the hidden barriers that keep you trapped in the day-to-day of your business and what to do to finally extract yourself once and for all so things do not keep coming back onto your plate. And if you're someone who partners with founders as their right-hand advisor, consultant, or fractional, I invite you to explore our scaling certification and licensing programs at strategicopsinstitute.com.